Welcome to Clarissa Custom Music's Not Negotiable Plan Part 2 video series. So this is the second part for the Not Negotiable Plan. If you haven't watched the first part, then you might be able to understand what's going on. This is where we left off in our last video. So we had scheduled all of our not negotiable time. What we've done since then is we've gone through and we've looked at the extra work that we might want to do. With music, these students are music based. This particular student wants to put 6 hours of practice in a week. They have some extra work they need to do on their oral. This is what they classify as not negotiable. They would like to spend 2 hours a week on their portfolio, and of course there's the time for the body of work. So we're now going to go through and look at the homework. Homework is classified as not negotiable and needs to be put into the schedule. So if we talk to the students in question, they get homework here, and it's about 30 minutes at most, because most of the time they can finish the math work in that class, but if they don't get it finished, they have to finish it for homework. Over here, they don't get any homework for maths here. Again, it's just finishing whatever they don't finish. So they've said it's probably about 30 minutes. But here they get extra work. So that takes them about an hour, they've said to me. So they get homework here. When we look at history, they actually don't get history for homework until here, and it takes about an hour and a half, roughly. They said sometimes it's only an hour, but most of the time it's an hour and a half. I've gone, okay, great. Science is the same. They talk through a bunch of things in science. Here is when they do their prac. Now this takes 2 hours to complete the write-ups and everything they have to do with science. So that's their science homework. And then art, well, they don't have homework per se. They have the portfolio and the body of work. So when we go through, this student's not got too much not negotiable homework, which is good. I've said to them, okay, well, let's look at your math. And they go, well, I want to get it done straight away. So as soon as I come home, I always do my math homework. Okay, great. So that's when we're going to do our maths homework, is here. They have said that they want to use this hour to continue their math. So they would like to continue it here. I've gone, okay, great. You can continue your math there. Perfect. So these now have been taken care of. So those two have been taken care of. Okay. And then they've got an hour for math. And they said the same thing, because math's something that they're not strong at. They would like to do their math homework in there so that it continues through. So basically it's fresh in their mind. Gone, okay, great. So their math homework has been dealt with. Okay? So that's their maths homework slotted in there now. And you can change the colour of this if you wish, so that it becomes a different, let's make it that blue maybe, and make the text white. Let's do that. So that can be their homework, maybe colour, totally up to you. So their maths taken care of. That's how you do the homework plan. So if I just very quickly put in their history, and I'll quickly put in their science. That's what I want to do. Now that leaves things like their art body of work. Now, because their art here is on this day, and because of the fact that they have an hour, they've said this is where they would like to work on their portfolio. So they're going to do their art portfolio in here, and they're going to do that in here, which is good. It means that they've got that covered, which is lovely. So that particular day is all about art and history. For this student, it works nicely. They've got gym, so they're usually pretty knackered anyway, so that works nicely for them. The only thing they haven't got in here is they haven't got practice time, which is what they want to do now. So they've said, okay, well, Monday I have rehearsals all day. I don't want to play on Monday. So Tuesday, I'd like to do an hour and a half. So we're going to make practice, we'll make practice orange because it's like a rehearsal. So they would like to have practice for an hour and a half. they'd like to do an hour and a half here because they do hour and a half blocks pretty much. 3, they would like to do an hour and a half here because it relaxes them. And then they would like to do an hour here. And then they've said it's 3, 4.5, 5.5. And then they've said they'd like to put this hour and a half in here. They can when they get back. So it gives them about 6.5 hours. So they're pretty happy with that. So they've got that time in now, which is good. The only thing left is their oral work that's not negotiable that they want to slot in there. Well, they have a train travel. So they've decided that they're going to use this time for their oral stuff. And there's some online platforms that I offer them. Mum does take them to school occasionally. Like, for example, Mum takes them here. They're travelling with Mum here. They travel with the family here and here. This is all travelling with Mum. So if they are travelling with Mum and they don't feel like they can do anything in the car, then slot that into there. You can slot the oral stuff into here when they're travelling on their own because they can do that themselves, which is quite good. It's a reasonable amount of travel when you're looking at it. If they're just spending the travel time doing oral, there's quite a few things there for them. And if they're travelling with Mum, maybe that's where they listen to music or something along those lines. They might be able to do something in there, or it might just be a good time for them to travel with Mum and to be set. So now their not negotiable plan, once their not negotiable plan's in, their homework's in, their practices in, and all the things that are not negotiable are set aside, we can see how much time they have. So now they have an hour here. We'll leave that as not important. We'll have an hour here, hour here. We've got 2 hours there. They've got 2.5 hours here. They've got 2.5 hours here. They've got 2 hours here. They've got, we'll forget that. They've got 2 hours. Oops, 2 hours here. They've got an hour and a half here. And they've got an hour here. Now what they have missed out is they haven't put their body of work in. So they've realised when they're doing it that they haven't done that. So they're going to put their art body of work in here. That's where they're going to work on that. Scheduled specifically for that. And they're going to work on it here. So now they've got 4 hours on their art body of work, which they're pretty happy with. So leaving left over, they've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4.5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5, 10, 11. They've actually got 12.5 hours of time available to them once they've done their homework and the things that they would like to definitely get done as considered not negotiable. That concludes part 2.